jump in a crater.
See you later.
Destination trust. 6060842. I've been trying all day, and I'm making no headway. Operator, what's wrong? I dial stupid number all day long. Operator says your number's been disconnected. Your number's been disconnected. Your number's been disconnected. Your number's been disconnected. Hello? Hello?
When all the lights are low, I know a place to go. I know a place to go. Downtown. When you were lonely, life is making you frown, but you can always go. Just listen to the music and the traffic in the city. Linger around the tower till you think you are a city. I know a place to go, but it's so slow. I know a place to go when things are so old. I know a place to go when you wanna go soft and low. Think of the people. Yeah, think of the people. Oh, maybe I'll see you there if I can do my hair. Where the sinner people go is straight downtown. Where the sinner people go downtown. Let's all go. I saw one with yourself.
This is the Monster Castle Paranormal Radio Show. We explore the paranormal phenomenon with researchers and skeptics from all walks of life and beyond. Fridays and Saturdays, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Visit our website at monstercastleparanormal.com. This is the Monster Castle Paranormal Radio Show. We explore the paranormal phenomenon with researchers and skeptics from all walks of life and beyond. Fridays and Saturdays, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Visit our website at monstercastleparanormal.com.
Come with me Into the trees, we lay on the grass and let hours pass. Take my hand, come back to the land. Let's get away, just for one day. Let me see you stripped. Let me see you stripped. Metropolis has nothing on this. You breathing in fumes, I taste when we kiss. Take my hand, come back to the land where everything's ours for a few hours. Let me see you stripped. Let me see you stripped. Let me hear you
saw her go. Now she's with me wherever I go. With her makeup on, both guns drawn, she set her sights on me. And I was somewhere lost, pinned to the cross of what was and what will be. Said I'll take that bet. She asked a cigarette, blew the smoke into my eyes. In her dusty haze, I found my better days will be real, but don't look twice. I just saw a ghost, thought it left a long time ago. I just saw her go. Now she's with me wherever I go. Then the light began to shine on this lonely heart of mine, and the night turned into day, and it slipped away. I just saw her ghost. I just saw the ghost. Whoa,
The views and opinions on this show are not necessarily of the network. Listener discretion is strongly advised. There is adult, mature, and possibly immature content. Well, as a matter of fact, we're way out of line. Please take us to your leader.
You've been trying to tell your story for 50 years.
Here I your Jaja. Here I be the
The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network or anyone affiliated. There will be mature and possibly immature content. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. As a matter of fact, I probably wouldn't listen at all. It's very poorly produced. Take me to your leader.
Monster Castle Radio Show. For the extreme paranormal listener. And here is your host, the Wolfman, Mike.
This is where the real freaks hang out, alright, yeah.
We got a special Monster Castle, special surprise guest from Eric. This is gonna be crazy. Anyone listening? Tweet it out to all your friends. This is gonna be quite a shocking show. We are here. All right. Big long intro there for you. Okay, hang on. This is serious stuff tonight, man. This is not about spaghetti, Adam. I'm sorry. We'll talk about spaghetti some other time. How you doing, Eric?
Dude, Adam's mind is we're gonna blow it to the point where he may not ever stutter again after this show.
Yeah, and it might feel like spaghetti.
But yeah, his brain will be spaghetti by the time we're done with our guest tonight.
I know mine's already. Just oh my gosh.
Just anticipating.
Right. Okay. Looking for something here. Okay, hang on a second. Do you want to just get it right?
With our guest hold on, sorry. I gotta turn that off. Hold on a second.
Oh my god.
Okay, yeah, I've already got some people in the chat room that I tweeted out to. So yeah, that lady Karen's a friend of mine from Los Angeles.
Okay. Here we go.
Hi, Karen.
Karen, how you doing?
Karen's awesome. She knows what's up.
Bruce May, you are the next guest on Monster Castle Paranormal. Come on down. All right. That was my silly interruption. I mean, introduction. Interrupting an introduction. Here you go. Bruce, are you there?
Me? Yeah, I'm here.
All right. How's it going, man? How are you?
Doing okay?
Oh, it's a crazy, spontaneous show here.
The station makes a lot of sound.
I'm sorry about that.
It's spooky sounding on my end.
Oh yeah, it's a spooky sounding show. Yeah, we're a spooky show.
I'm gonna spook you then.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yes.
That's what we are ready for. You're in the right spot. Everybody get ready to be spookified.
You want me to tell a little bit about the guest, Wolf? Or do you
would you? Maybe you should give a little introduction.
Give a little
first.
bio.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. This was about a month ago, right? Bruce, wasn't it about a month ago that we were in San Francisco at the UFO conference there?
Yes, at the UFO Con.
UFO Con, and there was other guests. Bruce was given the opportunity to speak at the conference. I met him there. I was there with Dave Cruz from Beyond the Strange, and his wife Debbie were there. We were doing live broadcasts. David Adair was there. George Norrie was there. Jason Quitt was there. I mean, there was it was a lot of great speakers, and so we were sitting that night. We arrived. Dave Cruz and I and his wife were sitting at the restaurant there. They have a restaurant there at the right near the airport. I think was it the Hyatt, I believe, or was it the Holiday Inn? I can't remember the name.
Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn. So we're sitting in the bar restaurant at the Holiday Inn, and I'm talking with Dave. Left of us, sitting in another booth, was Bruce May, and you were sitting by yourself. I remember you sitting over there, and we were just talking, and and then we made a comment. Do you remember what the comment was, Bruce? Because I must have said something, and then you kind of leaned over and said something to me. But do you recall what that was? Because I don't remember.
No, you were just discussing the subject of UFOs, and I happened to, be eavesdropping. So I said, do you mind if I sit in on the conversation? Because
yes,
I
that's
have
correct.
a message of my own I'd like to share with people.
Right, and so I invited him over. I think he came over and sat with us, and you told us part of your story, enough to definitely get my interest, because I think it was the next morning, if not the next morning, the morning after that you were scheduled to speak. I think it was 8:30 or 8:45 or some ungodly hour. And
in the morning, on a Sunday morning.
It was a Sunday morning. Okay, so you actually were not. When we met you that night, it was Friday, I think. You weren't scheduled to speak for a few days.
Yeah,
but,
correct.
Yeah, so you basically were hanging around and chit chatting with people and getting to know people.
Yeah, I went to a dinner that was given in honor of George Norrie, and while I was busy meeting the big man himself, somebody put something in my food and tried to poison me. I ended up throwing up all night long, but I still managed to do a halfway decent show the next morning for 2 hours.
Oh my God!
I think that I did the best show there, and that despite the fact that I was sick as a dog.
I agree. It was the best presentation, no doubt. I just got to let me just lead you into the presentation. So here's what's interesting, because when you came down that morning, I was sitting downstairs, and you came down the elevator, and I just happened to be sitting down there. This was after you'd been throwing up all night, and I looked at you and I said, "How you doing, Bruce?" And you looked at me and goes, "You something like you don't want to know," and then you proceeded to tell me that you were poisoned, and I thought, "What? How can that possibly be?" But the reality is they had a buffet at that dinner. There was chicken and rice and vegetables and everything else, all in a buffet setting. So people were walking around with their plates, all getting food from this. It wasn't like these plates were being brought to you. So the fact that you were poisoned and nobody else got sick, it had to be that way, because if there was food, bad food in the buffet, then everybody would have got sick, or other people would have got sick, but nobody else got sick. So, but the reality is, so Bruce comes into the conference room, setting up for his talk, and there was probably 6 or 7 people already in the room waiting to hear you talk, and you were telling people that you were poisoned and that you were sick, but you were going to do the show anyway. So go ahead and talk about that experience, what it was like for you, and tell us about some of the things that you talked about in your presentation.
Well, one thing I want to mention, I've been telling the same information for over a half a century. I'm in my 60s now, and I've been telling the same story to people since I was 7 years of age. But it's only recently that people have begun to take notice of what I was saying. because the kinds of things that I talked about 50 years ago, people couldn't comprehend then. But this generation that exists right now has been so desensitized through movies and television shows and other things that the truth doesn't shock them like it would have 50 years ago. So now when I sit down and I go over all the things that have taken place, they're more able to understand. So the one thing I was going to say, though, is that I have been trying for many, many years to call in to Coast AM with George Norrie and Art Bell, and there's always a block on my phone. And it's been very strange because I had a phone set up where you only pushed the one button on it, and it would dial Art Bell. And I just would sit night after night after night for years, literally, and I never once got through. But on a couple occasions when I did get through, it was after George Norrie took over, and I was at somebody else's house. Somebody asked me to house sit their dog on a Friday night so that they could go out and go dancing. So I said, sure, I'll watch your dog as long as you let me use your phone. They said, sure, go ahead. So I called in and got through the first time. And unfortunately, though, the lady who was screening everybody, she said, we're not talking to aliens tonight. And she literally hung up on me. And it was strange, too, because I called back. And I got right back through again. So it's very strange that there's other people that call into the show. They call in, 3 to 5 times a week, and they always get through, but I have never once got through because somebody in the government does not want my story told. Because I'm the real thing. I'm not a wannabe. I'm not a make-believe. I was put here for the purpose of trying to send you a message. And as strange as it's going to sound to you people, I am an actual flesh and blood alien from another planet. I just happen to look like human beings, but I'm not a human being. And the fact of the matter is, there's a long story behind my life. What he was talking about earlier was when I joined the military at the age of 19. That was a long time ago. There was a draft in progress. And my draft number was it was really low. It was like 27 out of 350, which means that I was virtually guaranteed to be drafted. So, if you know you're going to be drafted, the best thing to do is to enlist on your own. That way you can control the kind of things that you do. Besides which, I didn't have any funding for college. I figured I'd do 4 years of service to the United States, and then afterwards I'd have the GI Bill. And as it happens, I'm kind of from a military background. My family is. On my father's side, I've had people here in North America since the early 1700s. And I've had relatives fight and die, literally, in every battle ever fought by the United States at any time, including some that took place before there was a United States. My mother's side was different, however. My mother was a kind of an escapee from Germany. My grandmother and their 4 kids were sent to the United States because my mother was a Jew. My grandfather saw what was coming down, so he sent his wife and kids to the United States. And as it happens, he had 2 boys and 2 girls, and his 2 boys, which were named Leslie and Clifford Raridan, they joined the United States military and volunteered to go fight Nazi Germany. And they were in tank battalions. And as it happens, Clifford Raridan was at the Battle of the Bulge, and he stopped an entire German armored division dead in its tracks, almost single-handedly, because he was a Jew and because he got mad because he saw Germans shooting Americans in the back as they were trying to retreat. So he just decided, all right, you want to fight? I'll give you a fight you won't even believe. And he massacred them. He literally tore through them like a chainsaw through tissue paper. And they collapsed. And that's no small thing, because Germany put all of their reserves into the battle. And when they collapsed, that was the end of the war. Germany collapsed. The thing is,
that was World War I, right,
doing
Bruce? We're talking about World War I?
Two.
Oh, well, this is World War II. Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the right timeline.
So, my uncle, just for the record, was brought back and was buried in Arlington National Cemetery, and in a very solemn ceremony that was attended by thousands of people, he was awarded posthumously the Congressional Medal of Honor. So, see, on both sides, on my father's side or my mother's side, there was this military background. My mother worked in the USO, and that's how she met my father in the first place. And here's the thing, because they had 6 children. They had 3 boys and 3 girls, and after having 6 children, my mother decided that she didn't want to have any more children. She figured 6 was enough. So she had her fallopian tubes surgically removed so that she couldn't have any more kids. But her uterus was still intact. The thing is, 3 years later, my parents had a missing time event where they lost like 3 hours in an afternoon. And it was very strange, because when my mother came to, her underwear was missing and she felt wet in her crotch area, and it wasn't from urine. It was like a lubricant of some kind. And they didn't know what to make out of the whole event, except that a couple months later they discovered that my mother was pregnant. And that's where I came from. See, I was completely unexpected. And the thing is that when I was born with pointed ears. And kind of freaked everybody out. Other than that, I looked perfectly normal.
You're talking about ears like Spock, right?
Yes, I looked just like Mr. Spock, except in real life. There wasn't plastic or glued-on ears. The thing is,
how many teeth did you have in your mouth?
Eric, the guy that I'm talking to here, he saw the flat spots on the backs of my ears. You can still tell. My father, what he did was he took me to a surgeon, and he had my ears cosmetically reconstructed by a plastic surgeon in an effort to try to make me look normal, which I wish he had just left the ears the way they were. I preferred it that way. But where I come from, everybody has pointed ears. There's a story behind that. I'll get to that. But what direction do you